In this video, we'll be taking a look at working with files and also working with data. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is pull up our Google, and we're going to go to Vancouver Open Data, and we'll Google Vancouver. Like, I've chosen Vancouver, city of Vancouver, because it happens to be relevant for us, but you could find, like, there's all sorts of data out there on the internet that you can find and analyze, but we'll go with this for now. Search data sets, we're going to search parks. And we come up with all these results for parks. Scroll down until you find the one that says just parks. Where is it here? Parks, right here, okay. And we'll click into parks. Okay, so now they're giving us this data in a few different ways. We have table, we have information, which is just some general info about this data set, which Vancouver Board of Parks and Rec maintains over 220 parks and 40 facilities, blah, 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 blah. Washrooms, facilities, special features. So it's just general information about parks in Vancouver. All right, so if we go to click on table, the table tab here, we'll see all the information that we're going to get. So we can see park ID, name, official, I'm not sure what that means. Advisories, not sure what that means either. Special features, I assume are special in some way. Facilities, I'm guessing this is some kind of like rec center or community center or something. Washrooms, clearly, some parks have washrooms and some don't. And then some address information. We'll scroll over here. Neighborhood, so what area that park is in. We have some kind of website here. We have the size of the park in hectares, and then we have the I guess it's longitude and latitude coordinates. Yeah, so that's all the information that is in this little table. And so there's other ways that they show us to look at it. You can look at map, analyze, export, and API. We're actually going to look at export. And we're going to download this one, the CSV. Okay, so we can take the whole data set. So CSV whole data set, we'll click on that, and that downloads it into our downloads folder. And what we need to do is actually go into our downloads folder where it is. Okay, we'll open that. Okay, here's my downloads, and then I'm gonna copy. I have two copies here, but I'll take this one. And we're going to copy that into, and this is very important, we need to copy this into the folder where our Python files live, where our .py file is going to be. So, wherever that is for you, you need to find that and paste it in there. For mine, it's here. So you see I have app1, app2, groundwork. I have all of my py files, my Python files in here. And so we're gonna paste this, right click and paste. Okay, I've already done it, so you probably won't get that message. So and at the end you have this CSV file right here in your Python folder. All right, so to look at it, if you just double click on it, it will open up in Excel, which isn't quite what we want. I just want to look at it as a text file because that's what Python is going to do. So we're going to right click this and go open with, and then easiest is just to go Notepad. Notepad is just a text editor. So we're going to open with Notepad, and then you should see something like this. Okay, so once we're here, what are we looking at? Well, in fact, we're looking at the exact same information that we saw in the table view on the website. So if we go back to table view on the website, and I'll just do like split screen here. Oops. Okay. So you can see we have the title first of all. That's the first line in my CSV file, and that is in fact the first line in the table. So park ID, name, name, official, advisories, special features, and so on. Okay, and then we have the actual data. And so we have this one, right? Arbutus Village Park. It's over a few lines, but that's just because it doesn't fit on the screen. If I drag this over, you can see each one. Number 1 is one line. Number 4 is another line. Number 10 is another line. Number 14, and so on. So just keep that in mind. Oops, I lost it. Okay. Yeah, so if we take a look at one, let's say we want Arbutus Village, Park ID 1. I go to my table here, and where is Arbutus? I'm just going to click on Park ID to sort it by Park ID. Here we go. Park ID 1, Arbutus Village Park. So we have a 1, semicolon. Arbutus Village. Let me just make this a little bigger so you can see it a little easier. There we go. Yeah, so here it is. That's the first line, and we have exactly the same information. 1, 1. Arbutus Village Park, Arbutus Village Park. Another 1. There's 1. N. There's your N. There's another N. There's another N. And we'll scroll this one over. And you can, so moving on to like 4202, and there's 4202. Valley Drive, there's Valley Drive, right? King Edward Avenue, So all the data from the website is in fact in this file. Okay, so the reason why in the website they make it in this table format is because that's much easier for us humans to read and understand. Like us humans will look at this CSV file and it looks like, it's so dense that it's hard to really get anything out of. However, our Python is going to, likes to use this kind of data. So we're going to get our Python to get this info into Python. Okay. Okay, so at this point we can open up Python, open up our Thonny. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we have this file saved in that folder where we put the CSV file. So here it is. I've saved this, Groundwork 15A, and you can see in the folder where I have this stuff. Well, you can't see it because if I do all files, then you can see it. There it is, parks.csv. Okay, so it's in the same folder, so I'm good. Okay, so you need to make sure that things are in the same folder, otherwise this is not going to work. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to open that CSV file, and here's how we're going to do that. We'll say file equals open, and then brackets. Inside the brackets we have two things. We have the name of the file, parks.csv. Again, you might have other files with other names, but this is the one we're using at the moment. And then we have comma, and then we have a letter. In this case, our letter is going to be R, because R is for reading the file. All we're doing right now is reading the file. Okay, that's why the R. There are other ones like W and A for other purposes, but for me, I don't care. I'm just reading it. This word file, this is just a variable name. You can make it whatever you want. But I would suggest just copying until you've done a bunch of these and you're more comfortable. Yeah, it'll be just easier to just copy straight up. Next, we're going to let's do this. Let's print file dot readline bracket. Okay, so file dot readline is going to read the first line of the file. Okay, this is the file. The file is this thing. Okay, so if I run this, and it's just going to print that. So if I run this, it should theoretically print out the first line of our file, our CSV file, which is that line right there. Okay, so let's run it and see if it worked. And you can see, there it is. Okay. So if we do another read line, then it'll read like the next line, print file.readline again. We'll see the first one, and then we'll see like the second line, which should be, which should be 1 Arbutus Village Park, etc., etc. Okay, so we had our titles here, and then we had 1 Arbutus Village Park, etc., etc. Okay, and if you keep on doing file.readlines, it's just gonna, print out, every line in this file, which there's 216 of them, I believe. We don't want to do file.readline 216 times, so of course we're going to do a loop. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Now I don't really want this first line, because this is just the categories. I don't need that, because I'm just interested in the data itself. Okay, so I'm just going to say junk equals file.readline. That means my cursor is going to be at the second line. Okay, now if I print junk, it's going to print that first line again. I don't want that stuff, so I'm starting to actually save my data at the second line. So my cursor is at the second line because I've done this file.readline. Okay, so I'm now going to go for line in file. Okay, so for line in file, so this is going to read each line one by one. Okay, so if I printed line, it's going to print each line one by one. Let's just take a look, and you can see that it's printed every single line. I can scroll up and see every line one by one. Okay, that's fine. So one thing that I notice is that it's giving me an extra space after each one. There's nothing wrong with that when it comes to like printing things out, but it is going to mess up when I'm trying to compare things. Okay, so I want to get rid of that extra space. In Python, space extra line is denoted by \n, just like this. Okay, so at the end of every line, like, somebody has typed this out, and then at the end of the line they hit return, or they hit enter to go to the next line, right? Well, that enter or return is \n. I want to get rid of those because I don't want those as part of my data. So I'm going to do a slice. So I'm going to go line equals line slice, and I want to get rid of the final two characters in each one. So I'm going to go :-1, right? So we've looked at how to manipulate strings, and that's all we're doing here. We're taking everything except from the end to -1. So that should get rid of my last two characters. And if I just do my print line underneath that, I should not have that space anymore. Okay, so you see that space is now gone. Great. Okay, next thing that we're going to do is right now, each one of these things is one long string. That's hard for me to deal with, so I'm going to separate them into lists where each thing is like one item in the list. So that's one thing, Trillium Park is one thing, 0 is one thing, n is one thing, n is one thing, and so on. I can easily do this with the tools that I've developed, the self-defined split, or I can just use the one that Python has built in, which is just called split. So we'll do that. Line equals line.split. In this case, the characters that is splitting each field is actually a semicolon. So we'll put a semicolon in here. Alright, so if I run this, we can see that it will now have turned into lists. Right, you can see square bracket, and then each string has a quotation marks around it. Okay, so this is pretty much in usable form at this point. So I'm just going to create a list where I can store each line. So I'm going to have a list of lists basically. So we'll just call it data equals and then empty list. And then each of these lines, I'm going to say data.append line. Okay, so that's all done. I'm done with the file now. I don't need it anymore, so we're just going to close the file, keep things nice and neat, file.close. So we had file.open. We're opening it up here, and then we're closing it here. Because I don't need it anymore, because all my stuff is in data. I can go for I in range len data, and I can print data I, and that should be able to print. Did I still have a print up here? No, I got rid of that. So that will print each of my lines of stuff. Okay, great. So now we can finally get down to the analysis of it. So most of this stuff for any kind of work you do with data files, mostly you're just gonna like copy paste this thing. You may or may not need this one, the one where we got rid of the enter at the end of every line. Your split may be somewhat different depending on, you know, maybe some of them are separated by commas or spaces or something. But in general, this is going to be mostly kind of template kind of stuff. You may or may not need like to get rid of that first line, etc. Okay, but now we're getting to get down to the now we're going to get down to the actual analysis of it. And so what can I do here? Well, I can do lots of things, right? I can say if, so this is a for loop that's like looping through each line one by one. So I could, for example, look for, you know, number 244. So how would I do that? I would say if data I, okay, so, and then this is a list in a list, so we have another square bracket, and I'm looking for the first one, so that's index 0. So if data I 0 equals, and I can say 244, and what do I want to do? Say I want to print the title. I want to print Fraser River Trail, so I will want to print data I 1. Okay, and let's see if that works. There it is, Fraser River Trail. I could also print out, I could try another one. So let's go back to my table, and maybe I want to print the one with park ID 11, Cardero Park. Okay, let's see if that works. Change this to 11, Cardero Park. There we go. Okay, I can do something like this. I can look at my data, go back to the data. I can say, okay, how about a park that has, I don't know, I can see which park has, say, facilities. Okay, so some have yes and some have no. So okay, so which one is facility? So park ID is 0, name is 1, official is 2, advisory is 3, special feature is 4, facility is 5. Okay, so facilities is 5. So I'm looking for 5, and I'm looking for yes, and sure, we'll just print the name. Okay, so all these parks have facilities, so that's useful, I guess. What else can we do with that? So you can see that we're going to be able to do lots of different things, right? Maybe we want to print the address, right? So I could do something like if the name is David Lamb Park, what's the address, kind of thing. So if name, so name is 1 is David Lamb Park. Let's print the address. Which field was the address? So So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8? Yeah, 8. Okay. Let's print data 8. Run. And Pacific Boulevard. Is that right? I'm not sure if I got the right one. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Anyways, yeah, you can spend a bit more time kind of taking a look. Maybe I want to see all the ones that are in downtown, all the parks in downtown. So this is, oh gosh. So it would probably help if you made a list and you don't have to keep counting like I am here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12? Let's see. If 12 equals downtown, print, and let's just say print the name. And it printed nothing. Apparently I counted wrong. And let me just do a cut here so I can, you don't have to watch me count. Okay, it turned out it was 11. I was one off. And so we should be getting all the parks in downtown, and here we go. Crab Park, Pigeon Park, etc., etc. I could do something with that allows me to look at two things, right? I want all the parks in downtown that have a washroom, say. So this is downtown, and data I6 equals yes. So if I counted correctly, data I6 is washroom. So let's see. Okay, so we just have 4 parks that have washrooms downtown. So yeah, there we go. Or we can look at the size of the park. So that's the hectares, which is right here. And so you can see some are bigger, some are smaller. Let's just find all the parks that are bigger than, say, 4 hectares. All right, so we can go, wait, what field was that? That was, so this is 11, 12, 13, 13. So if, okay, so I could do something like this and print all downtown parks with washrooms. And then I could print something else. And so, okay, we could, okay, what am I doing here? Okay, let's get organized. Okay, so we could do this and then do another for loop for I in range lane data. And then this time we want to say if data I, what did I say, 13? Yeah, 13 is bigger than 4, print data I1. And maybe we want to give this a title. This title is out here. Oops. And then I have another title down here for parks with big hectares. Okay. And let's run that. It didn't work because this is a string. So I just make it into an int. No, we want to do a float. Float because some of these are decimal numbers. So that's why we do float instead of int. Okay, so all these have more than 4 acres? Hectares? Is that true? I guess so. Let's say 5. Let's see the really big ones. Wow. Let's look at the list again. That's too many for me. Let's sort it by hectare. And let's sort it again by the biggest hectare. Wow, some of them is like 62 hectares? Holy smokes. Okay. Let's look for really small ones. Let's look for ones that are less than, I don't know, less than 0.03 hectares. Okay. So a super small park. Let's say less than 0.03. All right. Parks with small hectares. I want to put a little space here, so I'm just going to do Remember I said \n was like pressing enter, so we'll do a couple \n's there. Run that. There you go. Smart parks with small hectares: Granville Island Water Park, Macaulay Park, and Camosun, according to our data at least. Okay, so that's cool, but I have two different for loops here, and maybe I don't want that. So what I could do is I could actually make a list. So let's make a list. Downtown washroom equals empty list, and we have small hectare equals empty list. Okay, and we'll just have our one loop, and instead of printing it here, we're just going to append it to our list. Okay, so downtown washroom dot append, and we're appending data I, and the one was the name of the park. And then I'm getting rid of this for loop, and I'm using this same one. And instead of printing this, I'm going to say small hectare equals this. Move our titles down to the bottom here. Try that again. Cut that. Move it down there. I'm going to cut this. Move that down here. And we're going to just tighten this up a little bit. Okay, so I have one for loop, two ifs. We're appending to this list or this list. Oops, forgot the append. There we go. Okay, and then now I can print this list. Print small hectare. And I can print this list. Print downtown washroom. And let's see, run that. Okay, park with small hectares, there's that list. And downtown parks with washrooms, and there's that list. So yeah, that is a maybe more efficient and tidier way to do that. But you know, both ways will work. All right, so that's how we work with data, and you can imagine there's lots of fun things that you can do to find out you know, different things about these parks and different information. This is just one example, and we'll have you doing another example, but yeah, you can start to see kind of the possibilities here. This is 216 or whatever parks, but you know, you could have thousands and thousands, and the computer will just, you know, deal with it just as easily, right? All right, yeah, so hopefully that was interesting and helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.